dear citizens of Ukraine, dear President Zelensky, dear Volodymyr, dear Lord Mayor Kuipen, dear Chairman Dr. Linden, dear Jürgen, dear President of the Commission, dear Ursula, dear Prime Minister, dear Mateusz, ladies and gentlemen. President Tusk, those were the words, dear Mr. President, dear Volodymyr, that you said, quoted in one of the first video messages concerning the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The President is here. We are all here. On the early in the morning of the 25th of February 2022, this is when you said this, together standing in the center of Kyiv, and you added, all of us will defend our independence, and that will be how things remain. It's very rare in history that such brief words have had such an effect. It was immediately clear the Ukrainian people will not give in to Russian violence. The Ukrainian people will survive. And it's for this reason alone that we can be together here in Aachen today. Europe has a lot to thank the Ukrainian people for, and in particular this President, Mr. Zelensky. When the founders of the Charlemagne Prize in 1949 came up with the idea of the prize, many parts of Europe were lying in ruins. The terrible experience of 2 world wars, the violations of human rights, hunger, poverty and great sadness were all very present. Europe living in peace and freedom was a vision for the distant future. However, the founding fathers of the Charlemagne Prize saw their dream realized more and more each year. The list of laureates reads like a who's who of European integration. It ranges from Jean Monnet, Konrad Adenauer, Robert Schuman, Simon Weil, through to Václav Havel and Branislav Kilimnik. Men and women who have been driven by courage to push ahead with what many of us consider to be a matter of course, the peaceful development of Europe that makes the prosperity and peace of our people possible in the first place. But today, once again, we have a terrible war of aggression. Russia's terrible war of aggression, a war which for the people of Ukraine is painful, demands sacrifices like we could not imagine. A war that is against everything for which Europe today stands. And also a war which for Ukraine, for Europe and its member states shows very clearly we are standing together. We belong together, and our history will carry on together. For the first time, the Charlemagne Prize is being awarded this year to a president and to his people. I think this is an exceptionally clever decision, because the Ukrainian people and you, my dear Volodymyr, together, starting on the 24th of February 2022, you have been achieving unbelievable things. Tremendous bravery. You're defending your land with tremendous bravery against the aggressor Russian. Every day people are defying the Russian aggression through their efforts. Russia's war of aggression has brought Ukrainian people and Europe together like never before. We stand together in solidarity at the side of Ukraine. Germany has taken up more than 1 million Ukrainian citizens. Poland has taken in over 1.5 million, and Czech Republic over 500,000. The number of Ukrainian-German twinning associations has doubled, and throughout Europe, the war has made one thing very clear: Ukraine is part of the European family. As France's president said, Italy's then Prime Minister Mario Draghi, Romania's President Klaus Iohannis, and myself, when we visited Kyiv together, we emphasized this, and we stand by this statement again today. Russia and Ukraine are not one people, as President Putin claims in his imperialistic and colonialistic rhetoric. The Ukrainian nation has its own long history, its unbelievably diverse own culture, its own traditions, its own identity. Following the breakdown of the Soviet Union, Ukrainians have been fighting for the right to determine their own future themselves. And Ukraine has taken its decision, a decision in favor of Europe. Dear Volodymyr Zelensky, on the road to the European Union, Ukraine will have our full support. As Europeans, we know what energy is incorporated in the democratic will of the people. I think about Solidarność in Poland. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989, brought about by courageous citizens of the GDR, and then the unification of Germany and Europe in the years thereafter. And of course, I also think about the Orange Revolution in Ukraine in 2004, and the winter nights in the Maidan in 2013-2014. During this revolution of dignity, the blue-yellow flags of Ukraine and the blue and yellow flags of Europe became symbols of the freedom and self-determination of Ukraine. All of these popular movements demonstrate the strong will of people to determine their own futures themselves. Russia's war of aggression has not only strengthened Ukrainians' will as a political nation, it has also strengthened the will of the Ukrainian people to become a European nation. If Vladimir Putin believed that he would be able to bring Ukraine away from its path with his violence, then all his tanks, his rocket missiles have brought about nothing but the exact opposite. The European Union stands for peaceful coexistence by the people of Europe, for the political and economic cooperation between our member states, and for the beauty of cultural and linguistic diversity. The European Union stands for freedom and democracy, for the rule of law and protection of human rights, and in particular for the reconciliation between previous enemies. I'm very well aware of this as a German Chancellor, and that's what distinguishes us as Europeans. Therefore, every day we must pay attention to ensuring that the values of democracy, freedom and peace are maintained even within the EU. This striving for democracy, for rule of law, for freedom is also shared by the Ukrainian people. Dear Volodymyr, servants of the people, this is the claim with which you began your role as President of Ukraine. And you are precisely that today. when it comes to receiving the Charlemagne Prize on behalf of your people. The resistance and the desire for freedom inspire hope well beyond Ukraine. At the head of the Ukrainian people, you defend the values for which Europe stands. The Ukrainians can rely on our full support, humanitarian, economic support, weapons, and above all, in the long term. In 1986, the people of Luxembourg were the first people to receive the Charlemagne Prize. The text on the medal said, "The people of Luxembourg, a role model and perseverance on the way to a unified Europe." And this sentence, this phrase, is just as applicable today to the people of Ukraine. So today's conferring of the Charlemagne Prize does not represent an end point, but a beginning. The start of our new growing together in Europe, together with Ukraine, with the Western Balkan states, Moldova, Georgia. Given the change, the turn of the times, our message is clear. Europe is united and together. The Charlemagne Prize, as a prize for European citizens, means deep respect of our free societies towards the bravery and courage of the Ukrainian people and their president. The Ukraine is here, and Ukraine is Europe. Congratulations, and Slava Ukraina.